I feel like I need a super melodramatic version of that. Rob's Arcade, where the games get played. The games get saved so they get played on another day. Watch the rain. Rob's Arcade. No, guys, it is not time for the daily wheel spin. It's not Monday, so it's not the Monday show. But this is just sort of a follow-up, I guess. No, not doing that. Sit down. Be good. This is just, I guess, a follow-up to my video from earlier. If you didn't watch that one, I talked about alcohol addiction and some of my own struggles with a lot of that. And I haven't really been to sleep at all night. It's about 2:30 here, 2:45 Eastern Standard Time here in Tampa, Florida. And I've been up since yesterday morning. Just can't really seem to find any peace in myself at the moment. And just been kind of like been super reflective. I think I've taken about 5 walks today, not just with the dog, but with myself as well. Our dumpster for the apartment complex is literally located at the front of the complex, and we're almost on the very back end. Well, I guess we are. We're like on the back end of the complex. So I was just walking trash to the compactor just to get out of the house and kind of get my thoughts and really focus on what my addiction to alcohol, I guess, where it started, where it originated from, like what drove me to enjoy alcohol so much to the point that nothing else really seems to matter. And I started to look at when I started drinking, which I guess was about high school. I guess a lot of people do that in high school. They kind of start experimenting with like pot and beer and alcohol. And, I grew up in a household actually of drugs and alcohol. Um, but I don't think that was really outside the norm for the most part. Uh, growing up in the 80s, I feel like a lot of parents in the 80s raising kids, especially like in the early 80s, just coming out of the 70s with Vietnam and being flower children and all of that themselves. A little beer, a little pot was expected. There were some heavier elements going on in my family, especially with my father. My mom never got too out of control. She just dabbles, beer, wine, a little bit of pot, that kind of a thing. Um, my dad definitely, I think, let his addictions spiral out and definitely um, overflow and kind of filter out into myself thinking about it. Um, a lot of my earliest memories hanging out with my dad, he was, drinking and driving, not having a beer or two at the bar and then leaving the bar, um, but literally spending the day at his buddy's house drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon all day, and then grabbing one for the road. Like that was an actual. You kind of hear that today. Oh, let me grab one for the road. Sometimes you even hear it with like desserts or sandwiches or burgers or something like that. You're at a cookout. Oh, let me grab one for the road, man. And that's literally like that's an alcohol term. Like that's something that started with Miller Lite in the can. Let me grab one for the road. And my dad would drive often intoxicated with a beer in between his lap. Um, and his son riding shotgun in the pickup truck. And that was not out of the norm. That was pretty much the norm growing up in like my, you know, adolescence and my teenage years. In fact, I remember once leaving my aunt and uncle, Uncle Mark and Aunt Vicky, rest her soul, leaving their house one afternoon. Been at the pool all day, hanging out with my cousins, swimming around, and my dad came to pick me up. And he'd been drinking. Of course, we get in the truck, cracks a beer, and I put my seatbelt on. And I remember him looking at me and actually saying this to me. He goes, "What's the matter, man? You scared or something? You don't trust your old man?" And I mean, now like I look at that, you know, and even back then, it really kind of messed me up a little bit. Like, I don't want to say like it scared me, but it didn't feel like an appropriate joke, if that makes any sense. Like, I just kind of felt like, you know, yeah, I'm buckling up because I don't feel safe. My man T watched the video earlier, and he's speaking about how he's watching about the harms of alcohol every Friday in health class. Dude, don't neglect any of that. I'm serious, because that's the same thing I was doing. I was listening to this stuff in school and paying attention to my teachers and listening to what they had to say. And when I got into the truck with my dad, I didn't really feel safe. So yeah, I buckled up. And then his immediate response, you know, wasn't like, "Oh man, maybe I should pour this out," or "Damn, you know, I'm not." He kind of made it into a joke. The reason I'm going into that is just because I think that is a definite like outline with some of my own issues. You know, growing up in a household where alcoholism and drinking was more of a joke. Um, and it was always around. It was like every Friday night, every Saturday night. My dad was going out, partying, you know, the garage parties with his friends. One of his best friends had a son. The two of us were best friends. So, you know, we would go over there, hang out on the weekend. My dad would just hang out in the garage with his dad and drink beer all day. And that's, like I said, that's kind of how, you know, we grew up. You know, even in this game, we got drugs and alcohol. Excuse me, everywhere. Got got some vodka and bourbon over there, so it's like it's always in your face. Wine over there across the table. Uh, you know, it was always kind of like around in video games. Conker's Bad Fur Day. You know, had some jokes with beer and drinking, and kind of made it all like funny. Simpsons makes drinking funny every single Sunday night on The Simpsons. So I'm like looking at all these things at like telling me that like drinking is okay. Drinking's all right. You know, your family does it, your dad does it, it's on TV, it's in video games. There's nothing wrong with drinking. And where that is absolutely true, and some people can handle it, there is something that happened with me where it took control. I mentioned in high school I got first, um, you know, equated with alcohol, just being a teenager and trying to experiment. And a lot of times that doesn't lead to those wild college years. Like, I didn't freak out in college years and like go crazy. There were so many people, so many young girls I knew in high school, never did anything wrong. Valedictorian, lost her fucking mind after she graduated and went to college. Um, but all of all the girls on the like the yearbook staff who were all like straight A, straight edge students got to college and they didn't have any like filter or any like experimentation or any kind of like, you know, exposure to alcohol. And so they got there and they fucking lost their minds. I feel like a lot of people that I grew up with in high school, yeah, we drank and we enjoyed it, but that it led to it kind of like after high school, it kind of like mellowed out. It wasn't like a big thing. I remember after I got out of high school, really like smoking pot was like my favorite thing. Like drinking really didn't even factor into my wheelhouse. You know, like I might have like a beer or two, but like drinking just wasn't something I really enjoyed. And so like, you know, I'm kind of like self-analyzing myself. You know, I'm definitely coming down on myself a little bit. Everybody's like, dude, don't. I've been talking with friends, talking with some friends and family today, and that's really helped. But honestly, like doing this, I haven't felt this good since this morning. Honestly, like, sorry. Um, sharing you with you guys this morning, it really like it opened me up, man, and it made me like um see like just how much I've been messing up, like kind of owning up to yourself, like um you can constantly do these behaviors and constantly fall into this repetitive behavior. And I think sometimes it's because you yourself just choose to ignore what's right in front of you. Um, but once you kind of like open that up and you really like say, hey, man, look, I have a problem with alcohol. I have a serious problem with alcohol. It's a disease, you know? My brain's been rewired. I don't feel the same. Um, and once you start getting honest with yourself like that, like honestly, like that felt the best that I have felt in God, a really, really long time. And just having some of my friends reach out to me this morning, just talking with people. I know I'm not alone. Like a lot of my friends deal with it. I know, like I said, a lot of people in my family have kind of like gone through all this stuff. Um, but anyway, the reason why like I'm back right now is because this morning, after sharing all this shit with you guys, like I got off my PlayStation, I loaded it. Like as soon as I hit that share button, man, as soon as I sent that out, this fucking wave, like just rushed over me. Like that felt like it's honestly like like I said earlier, like I kind of came to you guys because you're part of my community. Like I talk to you guys every day. You guys mean a lot to me, yeah, all of you, and I felt like I was lying to you guys. Like I wasn't being honest with my man T. Like I'm hiding who I really am. I'm not being honest with my friend Buck. I'm not being honest with my wife. I'm not being honest with my friend Andrew. I'm not being honest with myself. And yeah, like as soon as you kind of like break that open and like say like, okay, like here it is. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. It sounds like it would actually like I think part of it was because I didn't want to admit the problem, because if you admit you have a problem, then there's like, oh well, now I got to deal with this shit in a sense. But it's like it's the opposite, man. As soon as I said it, as soon as I got it out there, it was just like it felt good. It felt really like I don't want to like compare it, but I mean it's like any secret you're living with, anything you're keeping in a closet, probably the same thing, like a young homosexual male might be going through, hiding who he is every single day from his family, from his friends, and then he finally gets it out there, and the whole reason he was ashamed to even say anything was because he didn't want to be looked at differently or judged or made fun of or abandoned. I think that's one of my biggest fears is like admitting I have a problem and everybody's just going to pick up and leave and like, oh well, this dude's just like lost cause. uh, but I think anybody will tell you that if you have something you're bottling up and you get it out there, you feel that much better. And I think that when my wife gets home tonight, I'm just going to let her know all of these things that I've not only been keeping from her, but just keeping from myself. Why I think I drink, how often I drink, how long I've been doing this, how long I've been hiding it, like all of it. Just get it all out there. And if she gets mad and she, it's throws a middle finger and tells me to pack up my shit and get out, it's gonna hurt. But I think the following days will feel better knowing that there's not any secrets in between us anymore. And I just don't want that. Like I said, I felt like as soon as I talked to you, like as soon as I hit that share button, man, I swear to God, you guys, like there was a moment where I was like, do I really want to get this out there? Like I hesitated for a split second. Like I don't know if I want my man T to know what I'm going through. I don't want to seem weak, is what I'm getting at, I guess. Like you guys watch my videos, you hang out with me, you send me comments, you send me likes, and I don't want you to see me as a weak person. I don't want you to see me as like somebody who can't control their shit. And I think it's part of the reason why I never like kind of opened up about any of this. I just wanted to kind of like, if it makes sense, protect you guys from that. But it's not. It's just hurting myself. It's hurting you guys. And yeah, I've had a bunch. Like I said, I've taken a bunch of walks today, just trying to get my head clean and just trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Like I don't know what um the conversations my wife and I are going to have are going to lead to. Um, but regardless, I think I want to keep all of this out there with you guys. I want to share all of it. I want you guys to kind of like um, experience this with me, so maybe that way you don't have to experience it, yourself. My man T mentioned, like I said in my last video, he left a little comment, pro, and appreciate it. But he was like, every day, every Friday, man, we learn about this stuff. And I feel like I remember back in high school, like they talked about the health damages of smoking cigarettes. They showed you the black lung. They showed you the health damages of drinking, the failed organs, tainted livers, which God, I don't even want to think about mine right now. They showed you the health effects of drugs and alcohol, but they very rarely touch on the ramifications and all of the negative impacts it can have on your relationships with people. I don't say they don't talk about it. I know they do. I feel like they talk about, like, oh, you could lose your job, you could lose your this, you could lose your house, you could lose your car. They talk about these things you could lose, but I don't feel like they spend enough emphasis on that. Nobody cares about their bodies, really, if you think about it. Like, our bodies are here, we abuse them, we use them, whether we're smoking cigarettes or, doing extreme skateboarding and breaking bones every single week and busting up arms and thumbs and nails and everything else. Um, you know, we put our bodies through the ringer. I don't feel like there's ever going to be a discussion where somebody's going to be like, "Oh, if you smoke cigarettes, it's going to do this to your lungs, and it's really going to deter you from smoking." Like, I feel like if you're going to smoke, you're going to smoke regardless of the health implications. But I feel like if somebody had sat down with a class and spoke to them for like 30 minutes, an hour, maybe a couple hours over a couple of weeks about the damage that you're going to do to your life from drinking, I feel like that would have a way more powerful impact, a better message than just like, oh, like, do you really think a teenager's worried about their liver or their lungs? They got baby lungs, man. They got baby livers. They're not worried about that. They're like, yeah, bring it on. I can play with it for a little while. I got time to mess this thing up and recuperate. I'm young. But I think if you were to explain to all of these people, like, hey, look, um, you know how much you enjoy having your mom in your life? Well, drinking can fuck that up. Hey, you know that guy Mikey you like hanging out by the monkey bars and talking to and everything? Drinking is going to fuck that up one day, you know? Do you want to be alone for the rest of your life? Is that what you want? Do you want to be alone, unhappy, miserable, living in an apartment, 42 years old, by yourself because you don't know how to handle your shit? And I feel like that would be a bigger wake-up call. Everybody as a kid, what do they want? They want to be the next Jordan, LeBron James, They want to be the next Rock. They want to take the world by freaking storm. And I think if you put that in their face that, hey, man, drinking is going to fuck all that up, that's a bigger message. That's a more powerful message to me. And like nobody talked about that really in high school. Nobody talked about that in middle school. It was always the health implications. Nobody talked about what it can do to your actual physical, tangible. I think part of the reason we don't care about our bodies is we can't see what's inside. We don't know what's going on inside there. But outside, what's going outside of ourselves, what's going on around us with our friends, with our family, that's stuff we see. That's stuff we actually, it's tangible. It's tangible. And there's nothing worse than seeing somebody you love upset because you can't get your shit together. I don't think I've ever felt a deeper pain in my chest than looking at my wife and seeing what I'm doing and how it's affecting her. Like, I wish somebody would have put that on the overhead projector when I was 10 years old. I wish somebody would have put that on the overhead projector or played that VCR tape when I was in high school and showed me that aspect of life, because that's something I think I could grasp onto and go, wow, yeah. I don't want to do that to somebody I love. So sitting there listening to Josh Peck talk about his problems with alcohol and drug abuse, and went on for like about 4 years or so. And he was like every day for 4 years he was breaking his mom's heart. Every day for 4 years he was just ripping her heart out. She's standing there watching her son go down this path, knowing that there's nothing she can say. There's something he's just got to figure out on his own. He's going to have to hit a brick wall and just kind of wake up. And that's the message that needs to get out there. That's what needs to be put in front of everybody's face. It's not what you're doing to yourself, it's what you're doing to all those around you. And that's what I've been thinking about all day, man. Like I said, I've been thinking about what I'm doing to myself, what I'm doing my wife, my dog, my mom, like everybody. And it's just, I'm trying to figure out like where did this start? What made me feel like I can't get through my day without at least a sip of alcohol. It's actually gotten to the point where, like I said, I like smoking. I think marijuana is one of those things out there. It's a great. I think it's a good drug. I think it's a good drug. I think it's got a lot of pharmaceutical, medicinal, and just practical purposes. Everything from rope to, you know, um, CBD, like everything. I think it's just a great drug. It's gotten to the point now where, like, if I can't smoke, I would just rather drink. I would just rather go to the store, grab me a couple little bottles, and get a little toasty, kick back, watch a little TV, and just do that. And like, that's not who I am. That's not who I was. I was never like that. Like I said, I was always about comic books and video games, watching cool movies, catching a little pot buzz with the friends, watching The Matrix, hanging out. Like, that was my idea. I used to have like dreams and visions and hopes and admiration. Like, I don't even have sometimes the motivation to get up and go out and look for a job. And I think a lot of that is just alcohol induced, you know? If you're hungover, you don't feel like doing shit, right? Some of you probably like, little man T's like, dude, I don't know what hungover is. What are you talking about? But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you wake up, you're like, oh man, I don't feel like doing shit. Like, that's your whole mentality. You don't want to do shit. The only thing you want to do next is keep the buzz going, you know? Right? I mean, how many times people out there who are drinkers, who have had hangovers in the past, guys, how many times have you woken up from a hangover? How many beach parties have you been to where you've had just way too you wake up the next morning, you're still drunk, okay? F being hungover, you wake up the next morning, you're still drunk. What's the solution? Grab another beer, right? Just keep that cycle going. And so that's kind of where, I was, talking with my buddy earlier, like I've like rewired my brain into this weird, like, repeating scenario where it's, oh, let me, I'll drink all afternoon, get wasted by the evening, be asleep by 8 o'clock. I'll be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, hating myself. Why did I do that? How many times do I need to drink a week? How many drinks do I need? Why am I, how many times, how long? Like, I'm laying in bed. Why don't I have a job? Why am I not doing this? Why am I not helping out more? What's going on with I've run through all of this shit in my head. I wake up the next day, get up, do my thing, go to the grocery store, whatever, do some laundry. Oh, that's R4 telling me I got to wrap it up. Um, do some laundry, do whatever. And then by like 1, 2 o'clock again, I'm like, oh man, don't know what to do. Maybe I'll go to the store, do a little wheel spin. Maybe I'll shoot a midweek breakdown. Let me run and grab me a couple little bottles of Jim Beam real quick. And it's like, then what happens? Same scenario. By 2, 3, 4 o'clock that afternoon, evening, whatever, wasted, drunk, in bed, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. My wife's like, what the fuck is he doing? She knows what I'm doing. She's not stupid. You know, and it keeps cycling to the point where it's like that's all you know, that's all you're familiar with, that's all you want to do, and it's not healthy, man. But like I said, talking to you guys, getting this out there has just made me feel like the best I've felt in a long time, really, honestly. Um, you know, uh, having my man T send me a little comment, dude, that really it made me smile to the point where I had tears in my eyes, bro. Like that meant so much to me. Um, my man Andrew has been there for me always. My man Buck. I don't have to say anything about Buck. We know Buck is true blue. Uh, Man does my freaking theme song and everything, dude. But talking to these guys, it's been really helpful. It really, really, truly has. And I thank you guys. I really do from the bottom of my heart. I'm looking forward to doing more of these. As a matter of fact, I know once I get off and I hit that button again, I'm just gonna be like, oh God, yes, let's do something. Like, let's actually make a difference. Let's try to like talk to people about something other than just comic books and toys and whatever video games. Like, if I can talk to you guys and share my experiences with you and prevent you from making some of the same mistakes, or if there's people out there who are listening and going, dude, hey, that was water. I'm going through that's water, guys. I'm going through the same thing, man. Like, and message me down and below. Like that's what means so much. So like you guys being here, hanging out with me is kind of giving me the power I need to kind of push through all of this. So I haven't really had anything to eat. Sorry, the water's talking to me there a little bit. um, but yeah, guys, I really appreciate this. Hopefully, you guys are getting something out of this. Hopefully, helping you out a little bit. You guys are definitely helping me out. Please comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Make sure you hit the like button. Share this with somebody you think might benefit from it. Your uncle, friends, cousins, whoever. Anybody in your life you think, hey man, they might get something out of this too. Share it. And make sure you subscribe, guys, because my journey is just getting started. This is going to be this is like a Rob 4.2 here. Whole new adventure in my life and trying to get my shit together. 42 years old, and hopefully by the time I'm 45, I'll be a fucking adult. Thank you so much, guys. I love you a lot. Just remember, this isn't goodbye. Simply to be continued, my friends. And until next time, don't spend that quarter any fucking where else. Just really appreciate you guys, man. Hang tight. I'm gonna hang tight. I'll be back later. I'll keep keep doing little updates and all that stuff. All right, guys. See you soon. Thanks.